Get closer.
Well, you gotta go over there, but he's kind of big.
All right, things saying we live now.
Check the audio. Let's take up off the screen. What?
All
All
right.
right, testing. Is the audio good?
All right, testing 1 2.
All right, testing 1 2.
All right, God, we good.
All right, testing 1 2.
All right, God, we good.
All right, testing 1 2.
All right, God, we good.
All right. Shalom.
Wow.
First and foremost, we're going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Makakodash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to Allah Akim that is doing the work. Sincerity and charity with humiliation all across the four winds. To you I salute. All right, today we got a brief lesson lineup. Lord willing, it be edifying and it serve a purpose. All right, reminding brothers of their duties. Okay, as last week sometime one of the brothers would have shared a video in the group, and he was going in on brothers, that's being I wouldn't say negligent, all right, but also encouraging brothers, to do their videos. All right. And also, the brother was going in, and he was saying, man, how we shouldn't have to remind brothers, of their duties. Now, with the scriptures tell us, to encourage and provoke one another, on the good works. But at the same time, brothers, still have their own weight to carry. But like I say, again, sometimes you have to remind brothers of their duties, when in this truth. They're supposed to know what they're supposed to do. All right, but the scripture shows that, believers often, need to be reminded. They all often needed reminders and correction and, exaltation as well. And that's what I want to speak on. All right, because coming into this thing, brothers them was hot, brothers was diligent, and doing quick, and also doing what they're supposed to do to get into the camp. All right, but this just a reminder, the encourage brothers, to keep pushing as well. All right, and we are also commanded, to remind one another, okay, of the good works. All right, and to do what is needed, to do what is necessary. All right, to remind them of their duties. Okay, so the first precept I got here on deck is the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 24, brother.
This is book of Hebrews 10 and 24. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works.
Right, said, and let us consider one another to provoke unto love and good works. All right, this scripture here teaches that believers should encourage and stir one another up to do what is right. See what I'm saying? Sometimes, people know their responsibilities, but need encouragement or reminding to carry them out faithfully. All right, because I know we in this flesh, and we bog down with different things. We have a lot of different things going on within our personal lives, but then at the same time, we also need to be encouraged and need to be reminded of, what we should do. All right, because this is a part of our duties. All right, you got anything?
Go ahead.
All right. Peter also said that, he would, keep reminding the brethren. You see?
God, and to add to that too, it also comes with a constant self-examination. Because if you constantly self-examine or you examining yourself, you would understand the duty. You know the duty that's bestowed unto you. And if you examine yourself and you find and you ask yourself and you be real with yourself, hey, am I doing what's asked of me? You should be able to answer that within yourself. You see, if your answer isn't a definitive yes, then you know there's work that you gotta do. If your answer maybe or no, then you know there's work you gotta do. You see, and all men guilty of that. All of us guilty of that at some point. Because the cares of this world, the worries of this world, the between work, people at work, your household, your children, your wife, your job, all those things play a factor in, is a distraction. You see, the scripture call them vanity, vanity of vanities. And we in sinful flesh, we subject unto sin. You see, we can't help not to do that. But again, with constant self-examination and true admonishment from your fellow Akim, that's how we help to keep ourselves sharp. Because the scripture also says, "In iron, so that the man sharpen the countenance of his friend." So if your brother comes to you and admonishes you and tells you, "Hey, I notice you ain't doing this. I notice you ain't doing that. You're supposed to be doing this." Don't take it upon yourself to buck up against the rebuke. Don't say, "Well, you ain't doing this," or "You ain't." No, the focus isn't on that brother bringing that admonishment. The focus is on you. You take your rebuke, and when it's time for him to get his rebuke, it'll be given to him as well. You see, so like the brother going into, we can't be negligent of our duties, each and every one of us. You see,
John, you got second Peter 1 and 12. All right, Yahweh Shai say, man, he would have you not, um, um, either you be hot or cold. But if you lukewarm, he can spew you out.
Mhm.
You see, and this is why we have to constantly remind brothers and provoke them, to good works.
Okay.
You see?
2 Peter 1 and 12. Wherefore, I was negligent to put you always in remembrance of these things, though ye know them and be established in the present truth.
Can. So Peter was speaking to the believers who already know the truth. All right. Same as now. He's speaking to brothers that's in this thing. You see what I said? Yet he still reminded them, knowing something and consistently doing it are not always, the same thing.
Okay.
You see what I saying? So yeah, you could know the truth. All right, but if you ain't consistently partaking in the truth and doing what you're supposed to do, that's a problem. All right. So this is where the reminder come in. All right. If not, then hey, listen, you just fall away.
Okay. If I could bring that in another translation,
Go ahead.
in the BSB, and I give an example. Therefore, I will always remind you of these things, even though you know them and are established in the truth you now have. So even though you know what to do, it's still a constant reminder is still necessary. Like for example, I like to go into the herbs. I know what different herbs are good for. And brothers, whenever I speak about it, brothers know what they're good for too. But I like to speak about it and bring it to remembrance, because even though you may know, you still need to hear it again. My old man teach me a lesson, years back. He said, "Son, even if you know how to do something, if somebody is explaining it to you, still listen, because you never know what you will learn on the next go around." You see, brothers, them know what's the sin, what's the punishment when you commit adultery, but it's still pivotal that you be reminded that, hey, when you commit adultery, this happens. Even though you know, it doesn't hurt to listen to the reminder. You see? Yeah.
That's it. So with that, we are to exhort one another daily. All right, Hebrews 3:13.
God.
Daily we are to exhort one another and encourage one another, so that we don't fall off, even though we in this thing,
Mhm.
because from time to time you just need that,
Mhm.
you just need that little spark.
Oh yeah.
You see,
Like you always say, whenever you're feeling down, right? What's the go-to precept?
Sirach chapter 2.
Sirach chapter 2. Even though you know that, I know that, the Akim them know that. What we is remind Akim whenever we go through hardship. I'm gonna read Sirach chapter 2. You already know that's what you can hear. You already know that's the
Sure.
answer. But it still is feel good when you get told, hey, go read that.
That's it.
You see? It's Hebrews chapter 3 and verse 13. But exhort one another daily while it is called today, lest any of you be hardened through the deceitfulness of sin.
Right. All right. The scriptures recognize that people can become distracted, discouraged, and even spiritually dull. All right. And it's easily to be distracted.
Very.
Very easy with work, with family.
Very.
You see what I'm saying? And those things could lead you to say, well, hey man, listen, I ain't do no reading today. I can put it off. It causes you to procrastinate. You see?
But yeah, it's so beautiful that you were going into this lesson because I just had this conversation and a similar conversation last night. One of the greatest tools that Satan uses is subtlety, right? And distractions are very subtle because a distraction could be in the form of an accomplishment. You see, you may want to go do a lesson, but somebody called. You got like 2 or 3 jobs lined up. All right, then as soon as I finish this 2 or 3 jobs, I can go do this lesson. When you finish the 2 or 3 jobs, what happened? You're tired. You're hungry. So
That's
after
it.
you do that, after I hold this fresh and I eat this food, I can do this lesson. After you hold it fresh and you eat the food, what happened? You drop sleep.
And even sometimes in doing them jobs, you run into certain complications
God.
that cause you to prolong.
Exactly.
You see what I said?
You see, not you. You was able to get remuneration. You get sustenance from doing it, but it costs you not to do what you actually wanted, set out to do. It costs you not to do the lesson you wanted to do.
Can
You see?
so regular exhortation, helps keep everyone focused on their duties.
Okay.
Brothers will be like, yeah, I know what to do, so let me just go ahead and do it without hesitation.
Okay.
You see? Now, sometimes, like I say, you get distracted, you get lazy. You see what I said? Even at times you get disorderly, but we are to admonish the disorderly as well. Because that is a part of this thing. The First Thessalonians 5:14, brother. You see?
First Thessalonians 5.
And this saying to say hurt you, this is to warn you. You see what I said? This is to provoke you to good works.
God. Rebuke is feel good.
That's it.
But it's your understanding of it. Either you take the rebuke and you be doleful about it, or you reject it. If you reject the rebuke, then that's only to your detriment.
God.
But if you take accountability, because a rebuke can't just come out of the blue just like that. Rebuke only is happen when a problem is seen to be evident. You see? Because the most ain't gonna put a spirit of tell a brother to rebuke you just by happenstance. No. It had to have been something that was seen or that was examined on you for the rebuke to come. Right. And then sometimes you get rebuked the day tomorrow. Sometimes you get more rebukes than you get praise.
God.
That's just how it is sometimes. You see?
God, like you say, you gotta examine yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and sometimes, man, you be doing wrong and you ignore it. Then the Most High put the spirit on another brother, to correct you.
God.
God. All right.
And you have to be mindful of that, because if the Most High put the spirit on one brother to correct you and you ignore it, he put the spirit on another man to correct you and you ignore it. So you see after the first and second admonition, what's happened?
Yeah.
Reject. And you don't want to be rejected of the Lord, because Do the Lord close that door of mercy on you? You ain't get that over.
Now you're a complete reprobate.
Are you just a walking ghost? You don't live in spirit.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah, man. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:14.
Yeah.
Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men.
Done. So when a brother is neglecting their responsibilities or walking out of order, the scriptures say, man, they should be warned and corrected. All right. That doesn't mean, you wrong for rebuking a brother. You just line them up, hey, listen, this is the correct way. Then if you don't, another brother correct you, then another brother, like the brother say, man, you being rejected. They said, all right. But at the end of the day, all we being is faithful friends. And the scripture says, faithful are the wound of a friend. You see? This is love. All right. This is love.
Now we jump into verse 18. In the 1 Thessalonians 5:18, saying, everything give thanks, for this is the will of Yahweh and Yahweh Shai Mashiach concerning you. So in prosperity, give thanks. In rebuke, give thanks. When your trials and tribulations, you give thanks. All the same.
Done.
Because if you wholeheartedly believe in this thing, Romans chapter 8:28 will come to mind. All things
Yeah.
work for good for those that fear Yahweh.
Done. Yeah, Proverbs 27:6, whatever.
Proverbs 27:6. Said, 27 verse 5.
All right.
Open rebuke is better than secret love. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful.
Right. Because the true brother will sometimes, say what is needed to be said,
Tell you about your house.
whether you like it or not, because the spirit is on that brother.
God.
And that's the Lord speaking, through that brother to you. Now, yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, but correction given with the right spirit, that could be seen as an act of love, because that's all it is. Now, that's how you deal with it. You see? All right. That's how you deal with it. Now, that everybody is responsible for their own works. All right, but at the same time, we got to encourage one another and remind Akim, of their responsibility and their duties within this truth. All right, the scripture tells us what every man should bear his own burden, right? Okay, but we have to encourage one another. Galatians 6:5, brother.
Galatians 6:5. Every man shall bear his own burden.
John, every man should bear his own burden. While believers should encourage one another, each brother is ultimately accountable, before the Most High for fulfilling their own responsibilities. Work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. All right, now we could remind them, but we can't carry out their duties for them.
Right.
You see, now this way it get tricky. You see, that's why you would hear the second in command, the brother Yashua, he go and he say, well, man, I'm reiterating what the brother said in that video, man. If if you can't do 2 videos, you might as well don't come to camp. You see, because all I'm doing is keeping you sharp in the spirit.
God.
You see what I said? All right. So at the end of the day, brothers should, already be striving, to fulfill their duties, without constant reminder. All right, because you got to be hot in this thing, for Yahweh Shai.
God.
You see? You know, because if you're in, like you say, you either hot or cold. Because if you lukewarm,
It's real.
that's it. So yeah, man. The Lord put in my spirit, to do this quick lesson. You know, reminding brothers of their duties. You see. So how can we know what we're supposed to do? So let's go ahead and do it, man.
Come on,
Already got anything?
come on. And be encouraged. You know, everybody have their different lot. Everybody have their different duties. Everybody have their different roles. And don't think another brother's role is more important than yours, or your role is more important than another brother's, because it all works together for one body. You see, and just how the ark went into, it's pivotal. Your role is very important to the body within itself. You see, because if you fall off, imagine, the body of Yahushai. If you fall off in doing what it is you're supposed to do, what you think can happen to the body? The body can be weak on that end. And the scriptures say what? If it offend you, what to do with it?
Cut it off.
Cut it off. And you don't want to be cut off.
Can.
You see? Because the Lord would take what you know, cut you off, and give it to another. And you don't want that to happen to you. You see?
Can.
So these things, the Most High is greatly to be feared at all times. Because at any given time, you can get cut off.
Right.
You know?
So if you finding yourself reminding brothers of their responsibilities, the scripture shows that reminders have a place, but at the same time, each brother remains accountable for whether he actually follows through on what he should do.
Can't say you didn't know.
That's it. All right. Let's get the last precept, Proverbs 27:17. All right.
Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend.
God. So again, the purpose of reminding isn't to carry another burden for them, but to help sharpen and strengthen one another in righteousness. And that's ultimately what we're doing.
God.
Giving you that little kickstart, giving you that little boost.
Yep.
You see?
Sometimes that's all you just need.
That's it. Yeah, man. So, Lord willing, we hope that lesson was edifying and it served its purpose. So, with that, we're going to give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem Kakudas, Shalom, and the Bad Babos.